Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session with guest instructors hosted by the Courtyard Playhouse. My name is Tawfiq, and today we are here with Shawn Kinley, right over there. Shawn Kinley is obviously a visiting instructor here with us at the Courtyard Playhouse. He's spending a few days with us here, and we're going to be diving into his brain today and picking it apart. It sounded a lot more gruesome than it needed to be. But yeah, Shawn, I think we would just like to actually get to know you a bit more. So you're from Calgary in Canada, correct?
I'm from Calgary, Canada. I was born in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, though. Other side of the country.
Okay. Yeah. And Canada is obviously a very, very big place. How much of it is actually inhabited?
Well, I think it's 80% of our population is within a few hundred kilometers of the American border.
Oh, okay.
Then you get 20% that's vastly spread out. And I think we were one of the least dense countries at maybe 3 people per kilometer or less, or maybe it was 3 kilometers per person. There's a place in northern Canada called Snag.
Snag?
Yeah, and I think that's in Yukon or Northwest Territories. There's more polar bears in that area than there are human beings. So, yeah,
if you ever want to meet a polar bear, then that's the place to go.
You don't want to meet a polar bear. No, when they're hungry.
Sorry, I just felt like testing your geography there a little bit. I actually have it's one of the places I would like to go, actually, Canada. So that's why I was just interested to see.
I think everyone should go there, at least once. If you want to spend 24 hours in the dark, go in the wintertime to the north, or 24 hours in the sunlight, go to the north. See northern lights, go to the northernmost desert in the world. It's in Saskatchewan. To drive in one line for like 2 hours, you go to Saskatchewan and you'll stay in one line and you'll never see anybody pass by. It's just stark and long. Visit 3 oceans. It's a fantastic country.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. It's very different to what we have available to us here in Dubai. The exact opposite, really. I mean, you can't drive 2 hours on a straight line here, but you're just going to hit traffic the whole time.
Yeah, no, I love that country. And a lot of films are shot there. In Hollywood, they look for how many environments you can have in a small area. And so just near Vancouver, it's one of the highest number of environments. So you can have the ocean, you can have big city, you can have rural area, you can have all the crazy environments in this one location. And so the diversity in one spot is amazing.
That's really amazing. Like I said, definitely a place that I want to visit at some point in my life. But yeah, we're actually here today to talk about improv, Shawn. Shocker. But I would obviously like to give people a little bit of background about that conversation and why we're actually here. So for those of you that don't know, the Courtyard Playhouse bases a lot of its principles and teachings on the philosophy of Keith Johnstone. And Shawn over here is a first-generation trained improviser. No,
first generation I think was probably around. Well, I mean, go back to England, it would be 1960s and 50s. Those are the first generation students. Okay. But around his most famous years of improvisation at the Loose Moose Theatre, I might be second or third generation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but a lot of those first generation people have kind of gone off and didn't focus on improvisation. And there's a few of us, I think more so in that second and third era, that have really stuck to Keith Johnstone stuff and are traveling the world and teaching it.
Fantastic. And when did you actually start, learning under him?
I think it's interesting that my first teacher was actually his wife, Ingrid. And that was in 84. And I was fascinated by it. And then went down to the Loose Moose Theatre and I saw their shows. I was amazed by it. The reason, though, I stuck with it was because there's a girl on stage, Shelley. I liked her a lot. So
simplest of motivations.
Yeah, so I went down there. I'm going to get connected to this theater. And sure enough, she stayed another month longer after that, and I stayed there for 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'd been improvising much longer before that because I was involved in mime and physical theater,
Gotcha.
and so I did a lot of street performing, and that's intense improvisation training from a live audience. You have to feel exactly what they're feeling, or you're not going to get paid. And so I love that training. That was really good.
No, I can imagine. And so where would you say it started for you? Is there like a defining memory moment?
You mean like the improvisation, the formal improvisation?
Yeah, like your improvisation journey. You know, do you remember where it began?
No, I mean, I always tell people you're a brilliant improviser when you're young because you're responding to everything without script. So, of course, I would say when I was born, and I don't remember any of that, and I remember elements of it being removed from me and fighting against it, and then reading about Keith saying, everybody will have that happen. The school system will take that away from you and make you a formulaic human being who follows the rules and is trying to live up to what everybody else expects. So I was pretty rebellious. I was lucky I didn't have my father around when I was growing up because there was no authority. My mother was off doing stuff.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, poor you didn't have your father around. But that gave me the opportunity to take things apart and explore how a tape recorder works. Of course, not being able to get back together, but I could experiment and play. And for me, that was the improvisation training. And watching animals and other human beings. I was doing that at a very, very early age and just loving that exploration. Not having someone to tell you what's right and what's wrong. That's where people will get their best training if they're willing to explore.
Right, and having worked with you now over the past week or two, you've one thing that stuck with me is that you've actually said that children are the best improvisers. And I taught a class today with kids, and I actually went into that class with that mindset today, and I actively observed them, and I was like, he's completely right. They're literally just improvising. They're just doing what their bodies are telling them to do. Yeah. And they're just having fun and enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was probably one of the most valuable things that I've taken from you. At this moment.
It's interesting because I believe that very strongly. And also, again, back to animals. I believe animals are the best improvisers. 2 times ago when I was here in Dubai, a cat walked onto stage. And we were doing a class and hopped onto a seat. And one of the organizers said, I'll take that cat out. And I said, no, this is brilliant. And I told all the students, if you can entertain this cat, if the cat looks like it's interested, then you can stay on stage. And it was a half an hour of this cat training all the performers. And sure enough, as soon as that performer was trying too hard, the cat would start licking its paw. And we go, you're off. And everybody would agree that the cat was right. So... especially in a class where you get people coming in going, I haven't improvised much, I'm not very good. Those tend to be the better improvisers. But there's a mistake in thinking improvisation is a thing. Improvisation is a vast number of things. We don't want to go see a bunch of children on stage being self-focused of what they want to do. We want the spontaneous childlike behavior, kind of clown kind of a quality. But also we want that discerning adult who's telling the story that's going to make us fearful, angry, giggle and laughter, and finds a story that's for us. And children miss that part. So in terms of improvisation, have that spontaneous, wonderful spirit of a child, but have the discerning nature of an adult who doesn't have their ego attached to every single moment.
And talking about story, actually, I know that Keith himself was very big on the story aspect of improvisation, which, like you said, for adults is the thing that's more engaging for them, right? And I just wanted you to tell us about his actual philosophy, since you actually got to talk to him.
Yeah, his philosophies were all over the place. I mean, no, they were relatively specific, but his training was on the surface all over the place. I remember one week going in after I'd been working with him for probably about 2 decades already, with my arms crossed, sitting at the back of the theater thinking, he taught the opposite last week, how annoying this is, that he's not consistent, and then realizing how stupid I was, because he was basically just saying that there is no one right way to do it. And if you think that the answer is something he said last week, and then you just start doing that without thinking, without feeling the right moment, then you're going to destroy the story because the story doesn't need that correct answer from last week. It needs the correct answer from this week. So there's that element that should make an improviser understand you can't be so rigid that you think your teacher has it right or that you have it right. As soon as you do that, even after 40 years of doing it, you're going to mess up improvisation. So some of his core ideas, I was just reading one today actually. He gave up on trying to come up with a meaning to the story. If you come into the story with, I'm going to make this about human rights and blah, 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 then you're not likely to get a story. You're going to be getting kind of a preaching sermon. People will watch it and they go, I think that person's trying to send me a message.
I've been on that end of shows.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the classes here, two of the classes, is called The Memorable Story. And it's getting into people's heads because all they're trying to do when they get up on stage is, I walked into the room and going, okay, it's a sad scene where they got cancer and they're about to die. Okay, let's do it. So, yeah, that was one of his things that I found really fascinating is he discovered you tell a much better story if you just get on stage and relax and you connect to the audience and they like you, and then you throw in the thing that might even surprise you about what the story is about. So that was one element of his work. The thing that I think is most consistent is his phrase, be altered or alter your partner. He was one of the most famous play readers, or the best play reader at the royal court for many, many years. Most of the plays that he read and suggested that they do became popular, whereas other people would be a 50-50 kind of hit or miss. And he was only reading it until the point he went, the characters are being altered by each other. They're being changed by each other. I think this will be a good one. And you watch people on stage, if someone says something and the other person is changed by it, the audience will be changed by that as well. And we have something. You don't even have to speak the language that the audience understands. You do it in gibberish, and after a line or two, if someone goes, Venta porta, no se caravanta. They're affected by it, and then the audience grips their seats and going, something's going to happen because that person has been changed by the other person. So that was another one of his big things.
Right.
And then you go into a couple of other things. Status, he's known around the world in schools and stuff as an innovator in the field of status work on stage. And his theories about platform and tilt, creating a stable base of a scene with lots of details, and then creating the tilt that creates a dramatic alteration in a relationship on stage. So those are some of his theories of storytelling. But again, if you go through the work with him, there's many ways to tell a story. Tormenting the hero was one that he got from watching a lot of silent movies. And working with him over the years, not just in his explicit words, but in his pattern of changing ideas, you start to go, okay, I can't narrow down to one storytelling method. And that's the problem I have with a lot of schools of improvisation. They go,
the rigid
here's
rules.
the way to tell a story. There's no the way.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because I work with a lot of newer improvisers that come along to do Maestro at the Playhouse. And they often get hung up when they get a 1 or a 2. Sometimes even when they get a 4 or a 5 because the scene didn't get to where they want it to be. They have this preconceived, idea of where it has to go. And in a note session, they always ask, like, did we play it right? Did we do it right? And I always have to remind them that there are no rules to this. Like, what you did in that moment was right. You were following your instincts. From there, you just have to go with it. There are no rules in improv. And like what you said, that where he taught one thing in one week and then the next, the rules were completely different. It's all fluid at the end of the day.
Yeah. If there is a rule, the rule is your partner is the rule. if you follow the rule and your partner decides not to follow the rule, you have a clash and you have a bad scene. If you follow the rule and your partner follows the rule, but there's no spirit, and the scene calls for you to go into another place, the scene also goes flat. So I would say, if anything, improvisation is not an answer or a piece of information or content. Improvisation is Janine, Sam, me, and Felipe. It's your relationship with another person is its own school of thought. Get used to changing what you know about improvisation every time you work with a different person.
Exactly. And I actually just wanted to ask you as well. Are you currently still performing at the Loose Moose Theatre?
Yeah, I do. Whenever I go back to Calgary, because I at the big point in my life, I was traveling about 9 months of the year to different cities and countries, teaching and performing. And so I'd go back there, and it was a playground that I could just drop in any weekend saying, I know there's a show, I'm going to go down and see if I can play. And of course you could, because it was an open kind of a feeling. And over the years, especially after COVID, things got tighter and tighter and tighter. Okay. And a lot more of the senior people stay there. And like anywhere, if you stay in one place too long and stick with one idea too long, you get a bit rigid. And so I do go back a little bit less often than I do. And it's maybe a little bit more narrow and closed. And I tend not to play much with the senior people. I play with some of the newer improvisers, and they can shake me up and send me in different places. And the people who refuse to play with the young people or feel they're above that, again, miss the opportunity to really learn and grow. Because, again, improvisation is the person you're working with, and they can make you a better improviser by challenging you. I sat at the back of that theater once with a really special young improviser, and I was asking her, so why don't you come down much anymore? And she said, I can predict what they're going to do. I think she was 16 at the time, and by far, for me, the most exciting person to play with on stage. And it was a very good note that I don't think any of the senior people would accept. But that's not just Loose Moose, it's any older company around the world where too many of the older improvisers stay there and they stop being challenged. Yeah,
so is there any troupe, group, or theater that you are attached to, or are you now just traveling the world and doing
I'm workshops? I have families all over the place.
Nice.
Of improvisers. And again, Loose Moose I will go back to. It is my home, even though, I mean, like everybody who comes from a home, your family is quite dysfunctional. And so I go back to my dysfunctional family and I work with them and try to make the best that I can. But there's De Andre Theater in Oslo, one of the best improvisation theaters in the world, and I work with them a lot. Leuven in Belgium, another company that I work with a lot. I've been doing a lot of work with Irtegalia in Egypt. Everywhere in the world there's groups. Vid in Slovenia, Igloo Theater is another great one. So the improvisers that have the true spirit of it and are playing and open and wide-eyed, those are the people I go back to, and I go, do you guys want to do something? And they say, sure, fly in and we'll do a class, we'll do a workshop. The world has become so tiny and small. Every time I get to the airport, it's like being at a bus station where you're just taking a bus across the city to another group. And sometimes I feel a little bit, I've lost the magic that I'm going to a different place. It's always, I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home. And that feels good.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like a good place to actually be.
Yeah.
You know, always looking forward to the next trip because you're going back to familiar faces at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What would you say is the place or the country that you learned the most, or something very impactful?
It's never been a country. And it's never been one group either. It's always been the people. And I mean, you asked that question, and of course there's one person that comes to my mind. It's my son, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, every single moment. I get videos because right now he's in Portugal with my wife. He's 2.5 years old. He didn't go there by himself. We
put him on the Euro train and just sent him off.
every moment, even in a video, he teaches me a lesson with this change of expression. He's not a performer. He doesn't perform, but he reacts to things. And I go, if anybody on stage could just be that, then they'd be brilliant. The story I've told a few times is this one lesson that I still remember. He's running around, he's doing things, he trips, he falls down by the sofa, and he stays down, and I'm waiting for him to get up, but he's just staying down. And I'm wondering, is he hurt? Is he crying? So I laid down beside him, and I looked at him. He's smiling with his big, wide open eyes, and he's looking under the sofa. And I look under the sofa, and of course, I see the little ball that's sitting there that he lost 2 days ago. And instead of erasing the mistake and getting up and dusting himself off like you're supposed to do, he accepted the mistake and explored the reality that the mistake gave him, and he made a discovery. As an improviser, that's a lesson. You make a mistake, don't erase it. Live in that mistake, lie down, look around, and you'll smile at what that mistake has given you, and it could inspire a new scene.
It's like another story that you told us as well, when someone's ringtone went off in the audience, and you used that, you addressed it in that moment. I actually did it last night in the show. Just because it was on the top of my mind. And I think it's about that presence and always being aware of what's happening around you, but also not to shatter the magic.
Yeah, exactly. If a phone rings in the audience, or someone coughs, or someone does something in the audience, and you turn and dismiss it, or you put up your sign that says turn off your phones, you've just lost this really wonderful improvisation, spontaneous moment. Everyone I meet has still this idea that we have to do it right, and we have to minimize and lower the mistakes. I don't think so. I think you just have to live to your highest level in the environment that you're in. And when offers come to you, not mistakes come to you, you play with those offers. So what did you do when the phone rang?
So it was actually at the end of, we were doing a long form. So this was probably about at the 40th minute, and we were going for 45. And I had actually just killed the villain in the story. The villain was choking and bleeding out, and the phone went off. And we were like, oh no, he's made a call to the police. They're on their way now already. They're trying to get in touch with him. Nice. And the audience loved it. So yeah, it's like I said, not shattering that the illusion that it's there, but also addressing it as well. It makes you so malleable as a performer as well.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, because I mean, back to that previous question of who's affected me the most, and I talked about my son. It was only I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks after he was born, and he's in the room. And when you first put a child in the room, you've come in from the hospital. The day before, you were a free human being, able to do whatever you want. You could run around, you could leave messes around. But then you look down, and there's this little wriggling creature on the bed, and you're going, what the hell? I don't know what to do now. So 5 or 6 weeks, he's not able to sleep. He's moving around the bed. He's all over the place. My wife and I are trying to keep him under control, trying to help him go to sleep. And all of a sudden, we find this right position, the pillow's in the right place, but his head's at that end of the bed, and his feet are at this end, the wrong place. But he starts going to sleep, and I'm going, perfect. His reality and him meshed, and everything worked. And then my wife said, let's put him in the right position. And before I could stop her, she had moved him, and the tears started happening, and we lost him for another 2 hours. So it's this idea again that the moment that is right is the right moment. Let it be. Just use that moment. Don't try to make it right for you. You have to give in to what is right now.
Yeah, it's riding the wave. At the end of the day, which is something that we always try and tell the improvisers on stage to do. I don't know if that's a term that you use. I like to use it, riding the wave, as you go along. But you're also the founder of the improvisation school, correct?
Yeah.
It's your own website.
Yeah.
And I actually read it quite frequently. I stalk you on. But it's actually a fantastic resource because you do blog posts, you write about games, book recommendations, you give updates about where you are in the world, what you've learned about different cultures. And it's such a fantastic resource. And the one that I was actually just reading, I think we also do a monthly newsletter at our theater. and I often look at what games you do a little write up. Do you do it weekly or monthly?
Well,
The game write ups.
Once a month I do a newsletter, and those usually have at least one game in it, sometimes not.
Yeah, so I can't remember what month it was. I think it was in February. I saw a game that I'd never seen before from you. It was the hand directing, I think it was. And I looked at it and I couldn't wrap my head around it slightly. Me and Kyle were actually trying to teach it in one of our community jams with our community, and we were like, we need to ask Shawn when he's here how hand directing works, because it's obviously meant to, teach like how to share control and that sort of thing, right? But also how to guide at the same time.
And how to be aware of each other. If you're talking to someone and they go like this, most people will ignore small movements, and then they just get on with their scene because they're so stuck in their idea. But if you have to say, I'm now going to be controlled by you, if their hand goes like this and you move back, you don't have to make sense that they've controlled you, but just be changed by that. And you'll get a feeling of what this is all about. You know that a person who sits back like this is offended. So listen to what they've just said. Don't talk about the hand, but be offended by the words. You now have made yourself really vulnerable because you don't know how you're going to deal with being offended, but you will justify it after that.
Yeah.
Keith was always saying, and Patty, another one of his students, says just to leap and then to justify after. And that's something that this is all about. Let your body reach out when you don't know what to do, and then bring it in and finish eating the falafel. It's amazing. Your body knows how to improvise. Your brain just gets in the way of that.
For sure. And I think a lot of us, we suppress that first thought, right? Because we're like, I have a better one. Yeah. It's going to come. The better thought is going to come, and it's going to get me to where I need to be. Yeah.
My problem sometimes is I hear you talking about that game, and I go, February? I don't even remember writing that. What was that about?
Maybe it was in January.
I don't even remember.
No, I think the most recent one you actually wrote was Wait, There's More. I think that's the most recent one you wrote. Yeah. And then the one before that was hand directing, I believe.
Yeah, and for me, it's like I just don't remember maybe 40 or 50% of the things that I write or teach. Because you go into a class and you do have a library, a toolkit of all of these games and exercises, but that's not the most important thing. It's the student, and the student does something and you're going, this game doesn't fit it, this game doesn't fix that problem, we have to create something else. And so you create an exercise in that moment and you're going, this was brilliant. You try it the next day and of course it doesn't work. It goes back to that thing of Keith teaching something and then teaching the next week opposite. It's not because it's opposite, it's just necessary to do something new now. And so that's what happens with a lot of those exercises and formats. I remember someone coming up and saying, Shawn, we're playing that format you created and it's successful. And I go, which format? And they told me the title. I go, tell me what it's about. And they told me and I go, I didn't create that. And they go, yes, you did. You were here and you taught it to us. I go, wow, great. I'd love to see it someday. And that's constantly happening. And I think improvisers get a bad memory, like if you're doing it a long time, because everything is so disposable. And I like it on one side because you know your ego is not holding on to it saying, this is the way it must be all the time. And it's making you flexible so that you can get away from a good idea and try to find other ideas that are more needed in that moment. So yeah, that's my problem when I hear my own ideas coming back to me. And I've had other people teach me ideas that I really do like, not knowing that I created them, and I get so pissed off at times because some people destroy the meaning of the exercise, and they're doing it just because, oh, this might be fun, let's do it. It doesn't work, and they go, oh, I don't know why it's not working. It's not a very good game. And I'm going, you really miss the point.
Yeah, it's been altered
and that was
its original intent.
Yeah, that's right. And people don't understand that a game is there. It's a prescriptive thing to fix a problem. And once it's solved the problem, throw away the game. Keith's legacy, some people will say, is theater sports, played around the world at one point by about 60 countries and festivals all over the world, theater sports festivals. Most people hate it because so many of the companies and improvisers have taken it and turned it into something that completely loses risk-taking, variety. People say it's just a game show that doesn't have any deep depth or meaning, and Keith was always against that kind of mentality. And so, yeah, I get that feeling of it's a shame when people don't honor where the game comes from or what the game is about. I try to say who created a game, even though I alter it and tell them I've altered it. They should go back to the original teacher and say, what is this game actually about and how can I play with it better? And I tell people who play my games, play with the game, stretch it, pull it apart, but do tell people where you get it from again, because maybe they're going to have a hard time with the alteration you gave them.
And I think I had another one of these sessions with Tim Orr last year, and one of the takeaways that I took from him was that he said an improviser is always an editor. And I really, really liked that particular phrase as an editor, because whether you're teaching, performing, any of those aspects of it, you are inherently editing everything that you're doing to suit the purpose that is in front of you, especially when you put it like that. And, you know, I feel like that goes back to the roots of it all at the end of the day.
And I would say, too, that even more than an overall idea of what you are, like an editor, you're like a strobe light of different things. You're the actor, you're the clown, you're the creator, you're God, you're a student, you're the editor much later on in the scene, because if you're editing right away, you're basically cutting out possible great impulses that come out. You're the child, and then you're the old person with wisdom who brings all of the stories together. So be careful, those of you who think you're an editor initially, because that might get in the way of you being a spontaneous child.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually kind of blows my mind a little bit, because now I'm thinking our life reflects what we should be doing on stage. We should be the child at the beginning of the scene that's really open to things. And near the end of the scene, we should be wise enough to say, we've got enough. Let's take a look at what we have and make the ending complete. Yeah. Because that's when we die. So die in a healthy way.
Yeah. I think that's very like a poignant way to look at it, is that your scene is like your life on stage in that one moment. So you're right, you start out as a child, and by here it's the end. You know,
we've discovered something.
Beautiful analogy.
Take this home with you.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I actually have a few questions from our community for you too, Shawn.
So are they phoning in right now? Are they online?
They phoned in yesterday.
Oh, okay.
They phoned in yesterday.
So this is from the past.
This is from the past, and we are in the future.
Okay.
But when they watch this, we'll be in the past.
This is crazy.
Exactly.
Time travel.
All right, I'm just going to go through a couple of questions. And our first one is actually, how can I stop overthinking and just be more present with my scene partners? There are no names attached to these questions, so...
Well, it's interesting. Over the years, when you start getting improvisation questions, you know that there's a really fine number. So that comes from 50,000 improvisers around the world who all have that same feeling. So read that part again. How
can I stop overthinking? I feel like that's one question, and then the second one is, and just be more present with my scene partners.
Yeah. A billion ways. Have a coach on the outside tell you things, throw things at you, so you're constantly in that state. Some people hate directed improvisation or having offstage coaching. Learn to self-direct inside your head. Recognize when you're planning, and whip yourself into a place where you say, I can't say this idea, and you have to go somewhere else. Be a good partner, so that on stage, when you see someone else in that stage of in their head and thinking, grab them by the hand. Immediately, that change of physicality makes people jump into being present. So it can come from different places, from outside your scene, from inside yourself, from your partner, or from you on stage. If you're the type of improviser who does like to play games, find those spontaneous games that are going to continually train you to be spontaneous. Speaking one word at a time forces you to be in that moment. Some people are impatient and they say, I hate that game. I don't want to do it again. Do it 10,000 times. Do it as a marathon of 5 hours of word at a time only. And I promise you, you'll get better. Keith had maybe 5 or 6 games that I thought, these are the ones he's teaching all the time. And he's developing brilliant improvisers who have all of these skills, but they don't play the games anymore. Word at a time was one, speaking one voice, stage directions, or he said, she said. What were some of the others? Those are some of the main 3 ones, but that can be useful as well. So there's some suggestions. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, wherever you are.
This is from one of our younger community members. I'm not sure if you can answer this one, but it is, why are you such a slay, Shawn?
Such a what?
A slay.
A sleigh. Well, in Canada, we have a lot of snow. And
as in S-L-A-Y.
Oh, sleigh.
But
yeah, we have a one-horse open sleigh. Wow. I am such a dork when it comes to modern phrases. Slay. What do you think that is?
It means you're slaying it. You're killing it.
Oh, I try not to listen to that kind of thing. The more you listen to hype from people, whether they're critics or audience members, the more likely you're going to believe that kind of stuff. After the end of the show, when people are coming up and saying, "Oh, it was so good," be polite because they're vulnerable and they're offering their opinion, and thank them very much. But in the back of your head, know how you judge that and say, that show didn't live up to my standard. So allow them to enjoy it, but don't buy into the praise that others give you. So young person out there who I said I was slaying, thanks. and talk to me later about it.
They'll come find you, Shawn, after they
great.
watch this.
You slay, whoever you are, you slay.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the core of a great improviser?
The core, again, probably back to this child kind of mentality. The core is the person who didn't lose themselves along the process of them becoming an adult. I've said this in quite a few classes here recently, that, again, like I've taught in about 57, 58 different countries around the world, and I've been able to teach children in most of those countries. All the children below the age of 5 or 4 all behave in the same way everywhere on the planet. The adults in those countries all have different issues. The Germans are very rigid with rules. The Japanese say yes to everything, but they don't define very well. The Americans are over-enthusiastic, maybe to a fake point. So everybody's got the thing that comes from their culture. So the core is remembering who you really are, who you were before the teacher said, sit still in class, don't make noise, be still, be quiet, and be a good Canadian, a good American, a good Egyptian, Arab, French person. Be a good linear kind of thing. You're a human being, be a good human being, and understand what a good human being is. It's at the core a spontaneous, alive, aware, curious creature. That's for me the core. And we're always just trying to return back to that. A lot of the great artists have said that. Picasso was saying, you learn the technique and the details of how to be a great painter, and then you have to be able to get rid of that, and be a great child again. Yeah, so that's the core.
Nice. That's a fantastic one. What is something you've learned about improv from a non-Western country that's inspired you?
Many, 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 many things. I love different cultures, and I'm embarrassed sometimes to be part of the North American culture, especially the American teachings are sometimes a bit heavy-handed.
In what way? If I may ask?
Well, here's the right way to improvise.
Gotcha.
And I'm not criticizing just the Americans with Chicago style or whatever it is. I also can criticize when I watch some Johnstonian teachers going into a place and say, and I remember seeing this, we're here to help you improvise better. We're here to show you how to improvise. And that's bullshit, because every culture improvises. It's just, if you want to be a good teacher, be a good facilitator to help them unleash some of the things that are naturally inside them. In Japan, when I was a younger teacher, one brave woman, and it's interesting it came from a woman because women are a little bit more resistant to express themselves because that's the Japanese culture, is not to confront the teacher. And she told me when I was talking about blocking and being enthusiastic, she said, "I'm not an American." She used American, but I think she meant, "I'm not what you're telling us to be, which is outgoing. I'm Japanese, and that's not the way I behave. That's not the way we behave, and that's not the kind of improviser we are, or the improviser we aspire to." And as a teacher, I went, of course, I'm teaching you to be an improviser. I'm not teaching you to find the Japanese improviser that you are in the way that you want to be. So that taught me and changed my entire teaching to be a good facilitator, to come into a class and understanding I am the student, especially at the beginning of the class, and figure out what the students want and what the students need, and then be the facilitator to get them into that place. So I'd say that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. This is from one of our teachers at the Playhouse, and they've asked you, how do you stay so observant while teaching?
It becomes second nature. I was lucky not to be able to speak other languages very well. Even when I was growing up, I didn't speak English very well. And I've always had to watch people. And when you're sitting in another country and you don't speak their language, you have to understand what's going on. And I quickly learned that the scripts are the same in every country. The waiter comes by, they smile, they go, "Event algoritmte?" And you say, maybe just a water to start. Because every culture says, would you like to start with a drink? So that's helped me to be observant, is not being able to understand the language. The other one is be curious. Be fascinated by everything a person does. How you sit there, how you tuck your lips under, how your leg is formed.
I feel watched.
And if you let out too much of what you're doing, then you make people insecure, and then you watch that insecurity and you realize you're causing some of that. So for me, it's because I'm fascinated and curious, and again, just really interested in the way human nature works. But if people want to do that, sure, you can force yourself to read the books and be intellectual about it. But day to day, watch the teachers all around you. Every single human being is teaching you how to be observant. You're just not playing the game of being the student to all the people around you.
Yeah, I mean, we're observing every day. Like when we're on the street, we're actively making judgments on people and be like, "Oh, look at that dress they're wearing."
Exactly.
Or, look at that haircut.
Yeah.
You know?
We observe. We're not curious about what we're observing. We get judgmental. We bring our biases in, but be curious about what you're seeing, not just judgmental. Don't have an answer about what you're seeing. Have a question about what you're seeing.
That's interesting. I think I'll actually try and bring that into my own lifestyle, my own observations, we can say.
Good.
All right, and our final question is, what improv habits do you see newer improvisers fall into?
So many.
Improv bad habits, I suppose.
So many. I mean, there's the core things. Again, if I go back to Keith's work, he's got ideas that he's always teaching at the beginning. Don't block, don't wimp, don't hedge, don't shelve, don't wimp. All of these things are addressing the core behavior of young improvisers. The first one is people want to control, and again, this is a cultural thing. Most Western culture people, and some Eastern, but not all. Anyways, most people want to control.
Case by case basis.
Yeah, most people want to control what's going on. So I don't want to go into your idea because that could be dangerous. I don't want to give up control because I have my ego, and I don't want to be controlled by someone. So it's all about control. The other one is another control thing, but the opposite side, it's wimping. The wimping is when you say, "I don't know. What's that over there? I don't know. What do you think? Do you want to go to a movie? Sure. Which one do you want to go to?
What's that place over there?
What do you think it is?" So that's all wimping. And wimping is not being scared to go into their idea. It's being scared to go into your own idea. If I give up if I'm vulnerable and I define something, I might look stupid. Sure, I want to go dancing with a tutu. Really, you do? Oh, I feel embarrassed now that I've defined it. So there's that. I would say those are the two. If I was going to keep it short, I'll start with control, blocking ideas, wimping. No, I'm going to throw in a third because it's so consistent. Stress makes us nervous. Nervousness makes us fight or flight. And it's that fight attitude that people will get negative on stage. Hi, how you doing? If I'm nervous, I'm going, oh, not very good. Why are you asking? As opposed to just being playful and relaxed on stage. Again, back to the childhood behavior. You should be a curious clown in those first moments. If you're not, question what's happening in your body. There's an observation about young new improvisers on stage. If you watch them in any show, if there's enough young improvisers who are really nervous, watch how many times they throw up in the scenes. They go, what a great party that was, or something like that. And at first I thought, oh, no, it doesn't happen. And sure enough, you watch it, that happens because they recognize a stress inside themselves. They feel it, and their brain is just making sense of this latent idea that they're already feeling. Stress people also in this state tend to pull guns really early in scenes because they want to kill off the danger, the other performer in the scene. Watch a fearful improviser on stage. Starting on stage alone, they're in a cafe. Watch them look at their wrist for the watch because in their head they're going, I don't know what to do. Where's my partner on stage? And then the brain makes sense of it by saying, I'm a character who's waiting for my partner. So stress, fear, those are the things that show the bad habits.
In that situation, how do you ground yourself?
Time. You have to just do a ton of these things. You have to learn how to fail. You have to learn that you're going to fail. And I think that's the most important thing. All of society teaches us don't fail. And that's the bad habits that most improvisers bring on stage.
Right.
I watch some of the students I'm learning or teaching here, and I have a hard time teaching them the things they want to know. I want to learn how to tell a memorable story. Well, I think first you need to learn how to fail because you're too scared to tell the story because of this pressure you have inside. And I can teach you how to tell a memorable story in your head, but you're not going to be able to do it because in your guts and your heart, you have so much fear that you're just going to get in the way of doing it fluidly. So you're going to really hate doing it. So those are the elements that new improvisers and older ones will bring in consistently.
Thank you for your insight, Shawn. We're approaching the end of our time now.
Oh, no.
I know, but we have to say goodbye at some point. So before we do, is there any last remarks or thoughts that you'd like to leave with our listeners today?
Ooh.
It can even be goodbye.
Yeah. I'm lucky. I get to do what I'm doing. And I would love people to be able to have a sense of being always able to do what they want to do. You just have to get over the fact that you have to do it well. You don't have to. If you have the slightest inclination that you want to improvise, just do it because you've been doing it all your life anyways. Growing up, responding to people in a simple conversation. You are fine at what you're doing. You don't have to be the most famous actor in the world. He's getting a thumbs up that we have to get going. I saw it in the corner of my eye.
I know.
So
we'll
yeah,
edit it out.
that's what I said. Don't edit it out because that was a good improvisation moment. That's what I would say is you're all great improvisers. Just risk the failure being a good part of the element of your process and play with it and don't be scared of that.
Thank you, Shawn. So that has been our time, ladies and gentlemen, with Mr. Shawn Kinley. Thank you for joining me today. Personally, I learned so much from you today, and I hope that the people listening also take something away with them that they can, use to color their lives in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.